sponsorships that you're able to afford or to do would be a tremendous bracha for you and for all of us if you can help us with sponsoring some of the learning programs that we have over Shavuos. There are flyers out there, and there's also on the email as well flyers that you can help with Shavuos sponsorships. Tonight what we're going to look at is a couple of aspects that relate to Shavuos. We'll try over the next few days to give us a little bit more insight into Shavuos itself, into the Chag itself. Shavuos has a number of names associated with it. One of the names associated is Zman Matan Torah, which means that it's a time when the Torah is given over to the Jewish people. The question is, really, is that when the Torah was given over to the Jewish people? So we take a look. The Gemara tells us that in the beginning, when the world was created, Hashem made a t'nai, made a stipulation with Shamayim and Aretz, with the heaven and earth, to say that if the Jewish people are going to receive the Torah in the future, then that will be good. If not, then this world has no purpose. It will end up as tohu vavohu, will end up as nothingness. So this was the stipulation that God created the world. And we learn this from a verse. The pasuk that we learn in Bereshit says, Vayar Elokim es kol asher asa. So God saw everything that was created, that He made. V'hinei tov ma'od, it was all good. Vahi'era vahi'voker yom hashishi. This is coming from a Gemara in Shabbos that tells us, and it was evening, it was daytime, yom hashishi, it was the sixth day. So the Gemara asks the question, yom hashishi, it should be yom shishi. Just like every previous day was Revi, Chamishi, Shlishi. What is yom hashishi? The Gemara over there in Shabbos explains the hey of hashishi is representative of the sixth of Sivan, that day, that other sixth day, not just Shishi at the beginning of creation, but the other sixth day. What is Hashishi, that sixth day? And that is that on the 6th of Sivan, when the Torah was given, if the Jewish people accept the Torah, then great. If not, there's no purpose. Okay, so that's what we understand from this Gemara. The Gemara basically is telling us that up until this point in time, which is whatever, 2,000 years, the world is living in a state of what's known as yira, a state of fear. There's no chesed necessarily in this world at this time. It doesn't mean people didn't do chesed, but the way that Hashem interacts with the world is not done in that way. And only when Torah is going to enter into the world in a grand scale amongst all the Jewish people, and the Jewish people accept it, that is when Torah reaches its pinnacle. That is when the world has key and the world has purpose. So Hashishi in the pasuk tells us that's referring to the 6th of Sivan. That's what the Gemara basically says. So now with that, now we go to the big question for you. What's the big question? The big question for us is that we have the holiday of Shavuos. Shavuos is when? It's after what day of the Omer? Quick question. What's Shavuos? Is it after which day? 49. After 49, which makes Shavuos on day 50. If you actually calculate when the Torah was actually given, the Torah is actually given the 6th of Sivan. Unfortunately, that's not 50. Math is off. You're at 51 days. The Torah is actually given on the 51st day from when the Omer is initially given, not on the 50th day. So therefore, we're stuck with a question. The question that we are stuck with is, if the Torah is given on the 51st day, as that's the Yom HaShishi, the 6th of Sivan, if that is so, then why do we call Shavuos Zman Matan Torah Seinu? It's not the time of Torah. It's the day before the Torah is actually given. Okay, this question may have never bothered you before, but that's the fact. The fact is, on Shavuos, you're going to say Zman Matan Torah Seinu, and guess what? Ain't going to happen. It's going to be the next day. Unless you live in Chutz La'aretz, if you live outside the land of Israel, then you've made it. Boom! It's a good thing we live in Chutz La'aretz, so that means everyone in Israel is off by a day. The last time the Jewish people were off by a day, it didn't go so well. We had a golden calf. So what happens over here, that we have Shavuos on day 51, really, the Torah was given on day 51, yes, Shavuos is really on day 50. This is our big question. Okay, so the real answer to this question is why Shavuos is the Torah was given on day 51 is because an important little postulate, and that important little idea that we know is that originally when the Torah was supposed to be given, Hashem said to Moshe, tell the Jewish people they need to separate. And Moshe did something spectacular. What did he do when he told the Jewish people, and Hashem told the Jewish people to separate? He added a day unto himself. So the Gemara in Shabbos explains that Hashem told the Jewish people they need to separate, and then they're going to get ready for the Torah. And Moshe, the Gemara says, Hosiv Yom Midaito, that he added a day, said no, they need to separate an extra day. So the truth is, when Hashem was originally going to give the Torah, it would have been what we call Chag HaShavuos, but because Moshe added a day, therefore, what happened now? Now the day of the giving of the Torah is a day later, and Shavuos is a day before. As we mentioned, if you follow 2 days of Shavuos, so then you're in the clear, because the second day of Shavuos is when the Torah was actually given. But the fact is, the real day of when Shavuos is for us in the Torah is on day 50. The Torah was really given on day 51. So the first thing that we learn is Moshe added a day to the giving of the Torah, which shows you the primacy of the oral Torah, Torah Sheba'al Peh. Because of the primacy of the oral Torah, Torah Sheba'al Peh, therefore, even though Hashem says it's going to be on this day when the holiday of Shavuos is, Moshe changes it, and therefore the Torah is given on the next day, which teaches you the power of what Torah Sheba'al Peh is. The oral law has the ability to even change, quote unquote, the will of Hashem from Shavuos till the day after. It's the first thing that we know. But the question, of course, was when we restarted, and that is why it was called Zman Matan Torasenu. If in fact every year when we celebrate Shavuos on the first day, it is not the giving of the Torah is given on the next day. Okay, so that is the big question. I understand that Moshe changed it, fine, but that's the big question. So the Maharal explains, and this is taken from the Sefer Penine Halacha by Rabbi Eliezer Melamed. The Maharal explains that the truth is, after we finished Sfiras HaOmer, we got to Yom HaMekudash, we got to this holy day, and on that day Hashem said, you are now ready to receive the Torah. The Jewish people are prepared and ready to receive the Torah, and in Shamayim, we were ready to receive the Torah. However, because Moshe interjected and said, let's wait one more day, so Hashem said, fine, we will delay and we'll give the Torah the next day. What that meant was, at the beginning of time when the Torah was given, at that day when Torah was given, then Shavuos and the giving of the Torah was separate by a day. But all future generations, Shavuos is going to relive the day when Hashem said, I'm ready to give the Jewish people the Torah. It was just that back then, Moshe said, let's wait a day, and we wanted to show the primacy of the oral law, therefore we delayed. So what that shows us today, that this year when we celebrate Shavuos, Saturday night, Sunday day, that first day of Shavuos is the actual giving of Torah from Shamayim. That is the day when Hashem said we are ready to receive the Torah, which is why we still call it, says the Maharal, Zman Matan Torasenu, and therefore even though we received the Torah in actuality the day before, but we had the power and the ability to receive it that day on the 50th day, therefore we're able to call that Zman Matan Torasenu, and that is the concept why we call the Shavuos on this day. Rabbi Klein,